Joining me now for an exchange exclusive is Lorie Tekorius. She is CEO of the Greenbrier companies. Lorie, welcome.
Thank you. Happy New Year. Thanks for having me.
Happy New Year to you as well. Biggest manufacturer of rail cars, and it's been a tumultuous period in many ways between the pandemic, even now some of the interferences we're facing in terms of getting shipments around the world. What's the biggest segment of your business?
The biggest segment of our business is our manufacturing operation. And you're right, we have 3 manufacturing locations in Mexico. We have several manufacturing locations here in the United States, but also in Europe, in Poland, and in Romania, as well as Brazil.
So talk a little bit about what you're experiencing on that front at a time when we know that the manufacturing segment of the economy has been in negative territory for quite some time.
Yeah, it's a really great question because there are so many different layers to this. Part of the reason why we have had some difficulty with manufacturing is just being able to get a good, sustainable workforce. We're willing to train people to come and do work, but it's hard work. And so this is where, to your point at the opening there, the issues on the border crossing are really top of mind for me, as well as many others in the rail industry.
Explain that. What are you experiencing these days?
Well, thankfully, Greenbrier has not had any significant issues yet in getting equipment out of Mexico into the U.S. market. But we also are a big customer of the railroads. We use the railroad to move our inventory into Mexico in order to be able to build our rail cars. So having these unannounced, indeterminate closures of rail crossings is a really critical issue. And it's not just about my business, Greenbrier. It is about the overall economy because there is so much commerce that moves across that border. Mexico is our #1 trade partner, and to have just the borders closed is crazy. Think about it when you're driving down the highway and someone up ahead throws their foot on the brakes and that backs traffic up.
Yeah.
Traffic doesn't start flowing again just whenever they take their foot off the brake, right? It's going to take time whenever they have these closures to get things moving freely again.
And we spoke with the industry trade group for rail maybe a week or two ago about the situation. He was obviously frustrated. So it sounds like we're still at an impasse. Have you gotten any guidance from the administration?
We continue to talk to our policymakers. Again, we work with the railroads, customers, our competitors, trying to get that. They are really focused on, how they deal with the migration issue. I really do hope that the policymakers in D.C. can find a way to set aside their differences and think about how we can solve this problem. I mean, it's a great country. There are people down there that want to come into our country to have a better life, to work hard. So how do we sort through that as opposed to it just being a political issue?
And why do you think your shares have held up? Because if the shares were down 50%, for instance, and same was true for the whole industry, I'm sure there'd be more impetus for action.
That's a great point. I would say that our shares are up because at the leadership team here, we've been doing what we need to be doing. We've been focused on our footprint, where we have investments in our facilities. We've been right-sizing some of those facilities and really thinking about how can we make investments that improve our manufacturing margins, our aggregate gross margins, so that we are better stewards of our shareholders' money.